Hi, I'm Kenzie. Welcome back to my podcast. If you are just joining, welcome. Today we will be talking about my 8th Little Bear VHS, Little Goblin Bear. Ooh, I've got chills already. Anyway, this VHS includes Goblin Night, Moonlight Serenade, How to Scare Ghosts, and Thunder Monster. First, let's talk about Goblin Night. This episode starts out with Little Bear getting ready for Goblin Night by putting his costume on. He scared Mother Bear and Father Bear. Father Bear was sure he would scare the rest of the goblins tonight too. Little Bear agreed. Then Father Bear quickly tapped Little Bear on the shoulder. He knew it was just Father Bear playing a trick on him. Then Mother Bear got the food ready for the bonfire. The corn for roasting and the pumpkin full of seeds for toasting. Then Cat entered the scene to wish Little Bear a happy Goblin Night. Cat's black cat costume was scary. Little Bear and Cat were on their way. They were going to take a shortcut. Off they went. As they were walking along, a ghost can be seen. Acorns fell from the tree. Little Bear thought the wind knocked them off. Cat thought it was a goblin. Owl thought it was a ghost, which he was. Cat stepped on the ghost tree to reveal Owl. He and Little Bear thought it was funny. Owl didn't. Then they heard a strange sound. They thought it was the goblins. They hid in a hole in a tree. They tried to make room where they heard the sound again. It turned out it was just Duck dressed as a thundercloud. The can was for her thunder. Scary, huh? And so everyone continued walking to the bonfire. A goblin can be seen. Owl heard whistling. He asked if goblins whistle. Cat mentioned only if they were calling other goblins. Suddenly, a goblin spooked them. They fell backwards. It turned out it was just Mitzi dressed as a goblin. Then they heard goblins whistling. Well, it was really just the wind, but they say it was goblins. Little Bear thought that the goblins were all around them, but they weren't going to hide or yell for help. They were going to scare the goblins off. So everyone put on their scary faces and growled. Before they knew it, they were at the bonfire. They scared all the real goblins. It would be safe to eat the corn and the pumpkin seeds. So everyone ate. Little Bear tapped Father Bear on the shoulder. He thought it was a goblin. Little Bear agreed. A very big goblin. Little Bear loved Goblin Night. And that's how the episode ends. Now let's talk about the episode as a whole. I feel like this episode was spooky but fun at the same time. Goblin Night or Halloween is a fun night to show off your scary side. All in all, it's a good episode. Now let's talk about Moonlight Serenade. This episode starts out with Little Bear seeing a scarecrow wave at him. Mother Bear thought he was just waving goodnight. She put Little Bear to bed. Little Bear thought it was so bright outside. The reason for that is because it was a harvest moon. It was so big he could almost touch it. Mother Bear said it was the biggest moon they'll see all year. She remembered when she and Father Bear danced under a harvest moon. Father Bear did too. It was a wonderful night because it was the first time they danced together. After Mother Bear and Father Bear danced, they kissed Little Bear goodnight. The thing was, the moon was so bright. He noticed that the scarecrow was waving at him. He went outside to find it. As he found it, they danced a little bit. Little Bear didn't know scarecrows were such good dancers. Then Little Bear had an idea. He and the scarecrow would go to the top of the hill and dance under the moon. So their trip to the hill had begun. Suddenly they fell off a fence. They met some mice and they went along their trip. As they walked along, some pumpkins went along with them. Little Bear didn't know pumpkins were such good dancers. Then a rake and a shovel helped open the gate, and they went along with the rest of the gang. It sure was a beautiful night. The owl was hooting, the cat was meowing, the crickets were chirping. As they got closer to the hill, the big pumpkin couldn't get to the top. Little Bear helped it by pushing it to the top. Once they got to the top, the moon was huge. Everyone danced under the harvest moon. Little Bear sang a song about the harvest moon. Then the scarecrow tried to touch the moon. It was too far away, though. The scarecrow was disappointed. Little Bear then came with an idea. They could fly to the moon. So he placed one of the pumpkins down and shovel and rake light across, and Little Bear stood on the shovel. Scarecrow stood on the rake. Then the big pumpkin jumped on the other end, and whoosh! Little Bear and the scarecrow were flying to the moon. The scene transitions to Little Bear sleeping and the scarecrow waving. It turned out it was just a dream. And that's how the episode ends. Now let's talk about the episode as a whole. I feel like this episode was a fun one. Even though it was just a dream, it got some inanimate objects and turned them into animated objects to make it even more fun. All in all, it's a good episode. Now let's talk about how to scare ghosts. This episode starts out with Father Bear teaching Little Bear how to play the trumpet. Then it was time for bed. So Mother Bear tucked him in. Just before Little Bear was about to go to sleep, he heard strange noises in the night. It sounded spooky, but Father Bear said that if he listens, he could hear the music in the wind. Little Bear sort of heard it. The next sound Mother Bear wanted to hear was his snoring. They said goodnight to each other. As Mother Bear was about to leave the room with Father Bear, Little Bear asked her if she could leave the candle with him so he wouldn't be scared. As they left, Little Bear went to sleep. The thing was, it was difficult for him to sleep with all the strange noises outside. Then he heard some real music. He got up out of bed to check to see what it was. The wind blew the candle out. Little Bear got closer to the music. It turned out it was just raccoons playing musical instruments. As Little Bear said hello, the raccoons got spooked. They were scared to death. Little Bear got scared sort of too. They didn't mean to scare each other though. The raccoons wondered what Little Bear was doing up so late. Little Bear said that he thought he heard someone playing music. It was just the raccoons. Little Bear thought it was the wind. The raccoons said that everybody blames the wind. Little Bear asked if they were ghosts. The raccoons said yes. Then they played more music for Little Bear. One of the raccoons asked Little Bear to join them, so he grabbed Father Bear's trumpet. They were the perfect quartet. Suddenly, Mother Bear and Father Bear got woken up by the loud trumpeting. Mother Bear asked what Little Bear was doing up. Little Bear explained what happened. Father Bear asked where the raccoon ghosts were now. Little Bear said they scared them away. Mother Bear thought he must have been dreaming. Little Bear disagreed. Then Father Bear and Mother Bear put him back to bed. That was enough ghost stories for one night. The raccoons were heard laughing. Mother Bear and Father Bear said goodnight to Little Bear. Before Little Bear went to sleep, he said to Father Bear, "At least now I know how to scare ghosts." And that's how the episode ends. Now let's talk about the episode as a whole. I feel like this episode was spooky and fun at the same time. I just wish I knew how the raccoons got inside though. All in all, it's a good episode. Now let's talk about Thunder Monster. This episode starts out with Little Bear raking leaves. The wind blew the leaves away though. There was a reason for that. A storm was coming. Mother Bear told him and Father Bear to come inside before it starts to rain. So they did just as the rain started. Everyone was safe inside. Little Bear was looking out the window. Father Bear told him to back away from it, but it was too late. Luckily, Mother Bear saved him and Father Bear closed the window. Little Bear thought there was a monster in the sky. It was the Thunder Monster, which was big and scary. Mother Bear thought he just sounded grumpy to her. Little Bear agreed. Then Mother Bear asked if Little Bear and Father Bear wanted some hot chocolate with lots and lots of marshmallows. Father Bear wanted some. Little Bear just said, "Okay." As the storm continued, Little Bear asked where the moon goes when there's a thunderstorm. Father Bear answered that the moon goes to sleep. Then Little Bear asked how the moon goes to sleep when the Thunder Monster makes so much noise. Father Bear didn't know. Then Mother Bear gave them some hot chocolate. As they drank, Little Bear sang, "It's raining, it's pouring." Father Bear and Mother Bear joined in. Thunder was heard. Little Bear thought the Thunder Monster doesn't like their song. As they drank more thunder was heard. Mother Bear then asked what the Thunder Monster looked like. Little Bear described the Thunder Monster as big with sharp teeth, long scary arms, and a deep, loud voice. Little Bear looked at himself in shadow form. It was just him. Father Bear and Mother Bear growled at him to see if they were the Thunder Monsters. They weren't. Then they sang the song again. More thunder was heard. Little Bear got an idea. He, Mother Bear, and Father Bear had to wake up the moon. So they sang the song yet again and made loud, chaotic noises. Then Little Bear stopped and told his parents to stop and listen. The storm had stopped, and the moon awoke. Well, the moon and the clock. Then Little Bear, Mother Bear, and Father Bear went outside to say hello to the moon. Thunder was heard. Little Bear told the storm to quiet down. Then it was time for bed. Mother Bear and Father Bear kissed Little Bear goodnight. Then Little Bear sang a few more words of the song, said goodnight to the moon, and went to sleep. And that's how the episode ends. Now let's talk about the episode as a whole. I feel like this episode has to be the scariest episode in Little Bear history. I mean, no one wants to be frightened by a storm. The writers sure did a great job adding sound effects and making the storm realistic. Of course, I wasn't scared because I learned that storms can't get me. I sure hope that the other Little Bear fans learn the same thing. All in all, it's still a good episode. So yeah, that's Little Goblin Bear. If you would like to play again, just go back to the beginning of this episode. See you next time. Bye!